Hello and welcome to the Bike Show and an episode that sees us be nice to Harley Davidson, which hasn't happened for quite a long time. And we show you how to change your bike affordably every year with Fired Up. But first, Don hooks up with a couple of aging but still glamorous Italians.
Some of you might remember the late 90s, early 2000s. At that stage, Zoe over here was trying to knee slide a little plastic motorbike. And I was in my late teens, early 20s, and even more stupid than I am now. At that stage, it was pretty much the golden era of superbikes. The 754s, 1000cc V-twins. Now, all of them were absolutely spectacular, but what we really liked were the Italians. Now, immediately you're thinking Ducati, and you're right, Ducati was spectacular. However, we think we found some alternatives you might have overlooked. First up we have this, the Aprilia RSV1000R Factory. Unlike many of its Italian kin, the RSV is not gone for sleek and subtle. No, this is a brute of a motorcycle, in every way. The massive ogre face, those giant twin exhaust cans, that massive battle-scarred frame. Without moving, it looks like it wants to clobber you to death with its bare fists. And that's before we fire up that 1000cc 60-degree V-twin motor. This motor produces 139 horsepower, which is in the ballpark at that time. The 998 Ducati was right about that. The GSX-R 750 also around about that was 140. So it was in the ballpark. But where this was really good was that it made 105 Newton meters of torque, what it does now still, and that was, for the time, extraordinary. Also, there's something weird about this. I think it is the 60-degree V, because normally it's a 90-degree, and it has this sort of feeling, this kind of snappiness. It just feels, I don't know, more alive. It like doesn't come on with such a big, like the 90 degrees come on with like a thump. This comes on with more of a that sounds weird, but anyway, it's got this growl. Woohoo!
You almost feel like you're sitting in a little bubble. You form part of the bike, you are one with the bike, you definitely feel that way.
First gear, accelerate. Everything accelerates like hell. Ha! The gearbox is brilliant. It's all brilliant. So far you might be thinking this machine is all smash and no slash, but you'd be wrong. Here's the thing about Aprilia, right? They come from a town called Noale. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but anyway, it's near Venice in the northeast of Italy. And as you'd expect, they get their engineers from the local university. And that university is quite special because that is the place that literally wrote the book on motorcycle frames. So you'll see that the frames on Aprilia are always extremely good. More so with this one. This is the factory version. So, Öhlins front and rear. It has to be good. Okay, coming up to a corner, whole lot of Noale. The university factory on the brakes. Oh, it's so steady. But now we head from Noale across Italy to the town of Varese, near the Great Lake Como and the fashion capital of Italy, Milan. It's here that we find the spawning place of the MV Agusta F4. With this model, MV Agusta was reborn, and what an arrival it made. When people were still getting over the shock of the Ducati 916, the F4 arrives, and again, jaws strike the ground. It is believed to have been the greatest work of Massimo Tamburini, the greatest motorcycle designer to have ever lived. I feel sort of regal riding this thing. Count MV Agusta. Well, he was a sort of count or something, but I feel countish, if that makes any sense.
This bike almost feels, honestly, in comparison to the Aprilia, like a little ballerina. Like her pitch is much higher and she's all gentle and easy to ride, but you also feel like you're more on top of the bike rather than sitting in the bike.
They produced a 754 And everyone went, hey, but you're Italian, you're supposed to make a V-twin. And they went, no, we're making a 4-cylinder 750. And they went like the Japanese. I said, yes, but better than the Japanese. And well, they made 125 horsepower, which was good for 1998. You know, later, of course, they overtook that. But still, the way this bike makes power, it's very kind of old school. Okay, we slow down. So, we open the throttle, nothing happens in the low revs. Watch out. I close my visor for this. Then you get to about 7.5. Whoop, there it kicks in. Then you get to about 10. And there it just suddenly starts kicking again. And now it sings. Now it sings. Oh, that's a singing. That's a lot of singing. And this is a lot of braking. Yeah, this is a lot of braking.
A very smooth type of riding style as well. You can trust the bike going through the corners. It's not going to just do something unexpectedly.
Okay, yeah, so through this corner. Oh, C2 position works now. Feels good now. I thought the Aprilia was solid. This is something else that's solid. The Aprilia's, although it feels bigger, it's ironically easier to sort of tip around. Whereas this thing is just all solid. So there we have it. A long day of riding two iconic motorcycles. And now the important question is, which of these is best? Zoe, what do you think?
I personally like to feel part of the bike, so I will go with the Aprilia.
Really? I mean, I've got to say, I think personally, you can't beat the MV Agusta. And I mean, quite frankly, out of the two of us, who are you going to believe when it comes to style and class? I'm just going to leave. But really, it doesn't matter what we say or what anyone else thinks. That's not how bikes like these work. It's all about appreciation. It's about tugging those golden heartstrings. You at home watching this have already had your heart grabbed by one of these. And with bikes like these, that's what it's all about. I love riding. I love riding this thing. I love riding them both. How did I get this privileged?
He feels countish on these bikes, does he? Makes sense. They are both glorious machines. Personally, I would say the first of the RSV Aprilia twins that arrived in 1998 is the more likely to be a classic, even though it had a slightly less powerful but ultimately more entertaining engine than this model, which replaced it from 2003. The MV is a no-brainer. It appeared in the Serie Oro version in 1999 and eventually swapped up to a litre capacity in 2005. If you do find one, buy it. It's a definite classic and it really shouldn't depreciate too much in value from now on. Might even go up in the future. Both great bikes and still more than capable enough to hang with any new superbike down a twisty road if you know how to ride. Right, back in a moment, munching on some humble pie.